morning everyone. My name is Mansi Sanjay Kumar Suryavanshi and my today's topic is nervous system. The nervous system is a complex network of nerve and cells and they are carry message from a brain and spinal cord to various parts of the body. And the components of nervous system is first central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. In central nervous system, the brain and spinal cord are present, and in peripheral nervous system, somatic nervous system and the autonomic nervous system are present. Then the central nervous system, in that the first one is the brain, and the brain lies within the skull, and its shape like a mushroom. And there are three principles of brain, and the forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Then forebrain, in that first is the cerebrum. The cerebrum forms a bulk of the brain and it support on the brain stem. And they are also divided into two hemispheres, and each hemisphere control the activity of the side of body and opposite that the hemisphere. And it has a four paired lobe: frontal, parietal, occipital and temporal. And the second one is the diencephalon, and it is included as a thymus and hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is a smaller part of the diencephalon. And then midbrain, it provides the conduction pathway and the form higher and lower centers. And in hindbrain, the cerebellum, pons and brainstem are present. And in cerebellum, it is behind the below of the cerebrum, and it is responsible for the muscle coordination, balance and posture. And then pons act as a pathway to the higher structure, and it contains the conduction pathway between the medulla and the higher brain center. The brain stem, it is also known as medulla oblongata, and it is responsible for the breathing, swallowing, heartbeat and the blood pressure. Then the second is the spinal cord, and it is along the tube-like structure which expanding for the brain, and it composed of the series of 31 segments, and each a pair of spinal cord nerve come out the each segment, and both motor and sensory nerves are located in the spinal cord. Then the other parts of CNS, like three structures, three layers or the membranes that cover the brain and spinal cord, and that are outermost layer called dura mater, the middle layer called arachnoid, and third innermost layer is a pia mater. And neurons or nerve cells, the neuron is a basic unit of nervous system, and it is a specialized conductor cell that receive and transmit the electrochemical nervous impulse. And there are three parts: soma, dendrites and axons. And many axons are covered by the white and waxy substance called as a myelin. And then the second type is the peripheral nervous system, in that it consists of two types: somatic and autonomic. And first, somatic nerves controls the voluntary muscles, and there are cranial nerves are the part of peripheral nervous system, with expectation of the optical nerve and the olfactory nerve. And however, the remaining of the cranial nerves, axon, extend beyond the brain, and therefore considered the part of the PNS. And it consists of the peripheral nerve fibers that picks up the sensory information or the sensation from the peripheral or the distant organs and carry them to the CNS. The second type is the autonomic nervous system. There are also three parts: systematic nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system and the enteric nervous system. Then the types of the CNS, the CNS main function is the brain and spinal cord integrates and the coordination the sensory data and the motor recommended. Then the peripheral nervous system function is allow to communication between the CNS and the CNS of the rest of body, and composed of the cranial and the spinal nerve and the ganglia. Then somatic nervous system, the function is the subdivision of the PNS, and that controls the voluntary activities and such as activation of skeletal muscles. The fourth one is the autonomic nervous system. Their functions is subdivision of the peripheral nervous system that regulates the activity of the heart and smooth muscle of the glands, and it is an involuntary. Then the functions of nervous system is the monitoring changes, interpretation of the sensory input, and effects response by activating muscles or the glands. Then fourth is the mental activity and also as a homeostasis. And then the illness of the nervous system as a paralysis and the Parkinson's disease. Thank you everyone.